Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Riesinger.
And I'm Jeanelle Slade. A possible threat made at Huntley Project School sent parents into a frenzy today.
District officials tell Q2 a high school student made the threat after a comment about shooting guns at the school was made in passing to another student.
Now, the biggest concern we're hearing from parents tonight is not finding out quickly enough.
So now the district is re-examining its policy for notifying and communicating these types of incidents with district families. Superintendent Mark Wandel tells Q2, as soon as the child made the comment, the principal notified police and the student's parents and started a discipline procedure. That entire process took place at about 4:15 yesterday.
Wandel tells us by 5:15, so an hour later, school officials decided there was no threat and school would go on Friday, but with police presence on campus. He says that's when the rumor mill started, with parents fearing the worst. So he took to the district's Facebook today to explain. Now tonight, he says next time he plans to notify parents sooner.
The high school student has been suspended. Again, there's no current threat to the Huntley schools.
An update on a story we told you about yesterday. A man found dead in the Tongue River in Rosebud County has been identified.
And these are some pictures taken of the scene Thursday by Rosebud County Sheriff's Office near Ashland, where that body was recovered. The Rosebud County coroners identified the man as 52-year-old David Waxalong of Ashland.
No word yet on a cause of death. An autopsy was being conducted today.
Governor Steve Bullock signed Hannah's Act today, a law aimed at addressing the epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous persons. House Bill 21 requires the Department of Justice to hire a missing persons specialist. That specialist will manage the state missing persons database and work with state, local, federal, and tribal authorities. The bill is named in honor of Hannah Harris, a lame deer woman found murdered on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation in 2013.
Well, within a year, Montanans will be placing bets on pro and college sports. Governor Steve Bullock signed House Bill 725 into law today. It allows the state lottery to offer sports betting at locations that already have machines that sell lottery tickets. It's estimated sports betting will raise $1.5 to $2 million for the state's general fund and another $3 to $4 million for a school scholarship fund. The Montana Lottery has up to a year to implement the new law across the state. Now, the governor vetoed a second bill that would have put sports wagering under the Department of Justice's Gambling Control Division.
Republicans aim to address a critical shortage in Montana, access to high-speed internet in rural areas, by passing Senate Bill 239 this session. MTN's Mike Dennison has more on that bill that is now awaiting the governor's signature.
If Senate Bill 239 becomes law, any new fiber optic or coaxial cable installed to deliver digital communication or access to the internet in Montana is exempt from property taxes for 5 years. And for the next 5 years, taxes on that new cable in the ground are phased in at 20% of its value per year. The bill's sponsor, Republican State Senator Jason Ellsworth of Hamilton, also notes that the law requires those tax savings to be reinvested in more new cable.
It's kind of a snowballing effect of get a small abatement up front, reinvest in fiber, and then continually growing.
Telecoms serving rural Montana are strong supporters of the bill, arguing it can't help but encourage more cable being put into the ground. Jason Williams of Missoula-based Blackfoot told MTN News the incentive will help position Montana to take advantage of much faster wireless and cable networks for the next 20 to 30 years. When it comes to access to high-speed internet or cell phone service, Montana is one of the lowest served states in the nation. Ellsworth believes his bill can help change that status.
If you look at where we're at today with only 50% being served, we at some point have to make that decision. What is going to be a big enough incentive? In speaking to the local telecoms, this is a game changer for them and able to serve those communities.
But a fiscal analysis of the bill says it will cost the state's treasury $600,000 the next 2 years and more after that. Governor Bullock has said he'll be taking a hard look at bills that cost the state treasury money.
In looking at those bills or any other bills, I'll be looking at both the public policy implications and to ensure that we have enough money at the end.
Opponents of the bill also say it's an unnecessary tax break for some very well-heeled large corporations. Supporters of the bill say it won't really cost the state or local governments anything because it's a tax abatement, not a tax cut. But we'll find out soon what one very essential person thinks, the governor. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
That bill passed with some bipartisan support, but a veto would likely kill it.
Another class of students is set to graduate from Montana's oldest college. Rocky Mountain College holds its 137th commencement tomorrow. Now, the graduating students rehearsed today, marching into the Fortin Gym, a process that will play out Saturday in front of their family and friends. Now, some of the celebrations started today with events late this afternoon and this evening. Rocky President Dr. Bob Wilmoth talked with the class of 2019, delivering some words of encouragement.
I'm going to talk about resilience. I think that's what makes the world go around. I don't think it's the powerful or the rich or even the educated. It's about resilience. It's an old adage about living in the moment, so I would hope they'll take a few minutes to themselves and embrace what they've done, the significance of getting a degree, and a degree from Rocky Mountain College.
Now, Rocky's graduation starts at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon at the Fortin Gym. MSU Billings will also hold its commencement tomorrow morning. That starts at 10 a.m. at Metro Park.
It is also graduation day tomorrow for the University of Montana's 2019 class. This will be the second year UM's graduation will be hosted in the Adams Center. Compared to the old setting of Washington Grizzly Stadium. Some 2,000 students are set to walk in the spring commencement. There will be two ceremonies, one at 9 and another at 2 in the afternoon. Tomorrow also marks the end of college for thousands of students at Montana State University. MSU officials say just over 2,000 students will be marching together in cap and gown at Saturday's commencement ceremonies at the Brick Field House there on campus. University staff expected a large turnout of people to celebrate graduation. And if you are heading to either of those ceremonies, you're asked to try to be seated about 45 minutes to an hour early.
100 years of educational history. Students, teachers, and staff past and present are celebrating the centennial of Orchard Elementary. Q2's Jenny Fick takes us to the event and brings us a personal view from inside the school.
So we're here at Orchard Elementary. We're celebrating our 100-year anniversary. We're excited to be here and honor the students that we currently have as well as the alumni.
So, how do you celebrate a century?
To go with the trifecta, so food, music, and games. Orchard's a neighborhood school. It's a generational school, so a lot of our parents have come to school here, and so it's cool for them to come back to our school and just kind of see how things have changed over the years.
Orchard has been improved upon many times in the past 100 years.
When they took down the original building. So the facilities and just the programs that they have an extra. They have 2 principals now, which is wonderful for here. I mean, I just think it's blooming. Certain culture here that even if they move away, they still are drawn back. Just the overall, their friendliness, they care about each other. Yeah, I like that.
Alumni could walk down the halls again and take a look back. Alumni including one man who holds Orchard near and dear to his heart, my grandfather. Grandpa Fick spent most of his teaching career at Orchard.
Well, I was here for 15 years, and we had 6 principals. So, I don't know, I think we wore them out.
And oh, did he have some memories.
Well, back there in the 70s, I'm not sure the year, Principal Ted came back from the principal's meeting. He said, I've got a big announcement that female teachers will be allowed to wear a nice pantsuit occasionally. It was kind of earth-shattering at the time.
There was no shortage of reminiscing, reunions of past coworkers, students, even children and grandchildren of former students he had encouraged or influenced.
Gave everybody a chance to shine.
Curriculum may be a little different now.
Being that agriculture is so important in this state, I took kids on field trips, like to the cattle sale, and boy, they were surprised. They'd never seen anything like a cow going to the bathroom.
Clearly, a lot has changed, but one constant?
One thing that I enjoyed was parents sending such good kids.
It's really rewarding to be here because the kids love the attention that you give them, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a very special place.
A meaningful 100 years for Orchard School. Here's to 100 more. In Billings, Jenny Fick, MTN News.
Thanks so much, Jenny, and a big happy anniversary from Q2 to all of the students, families, teachers, and staff who have learned and served at Orchard over the last 100 years. Well, we all know a big draw for the Montana Women's Run each year is its amazing t-shirts.
Well, also growing in popularity is the reveal of the Montana Kids Run t-shirt. This year, Women's Run organizers look to the Billings YMCA after-school program to find the artist. Out of 50 designs, Kaylee Shoup, a 5th grader at Canyon Creek, will have her artwork featured on the Kids Run shirt.
Now, her drawing selected because of her use of the Montana background, smiling kids, and fun colors. The Montana Kids Race takes place this coming Tuesday, the 6th, at Rocky Mountain College Soccer Field. That begins at 6 p.m.
Well, I really liked drawing it the most, but coloring it, I wanted to get all the colors. I've been interested for like a couple years now, but I never really started to draw until like this last year, and so now I draw a lot.
And kids can just show up for the race next Tuesday to take part, and they get a t-shirt.
And the deadline for the Montana Women's Run is next Friday, May 10th at 6 p.m. The race, of course, the next day. And for more information, you can head to womensrun.org.
Well, still to come on tonight's 5:30 News, a local business is hoping to clean up Billings one bar at a time.
And in sports, MSU Billings chasing its 4th conference baseball championship in the last 5 years. Scott shows us if the Jackets earned it.
And coming up in weather, a new cold front getting ready to drop down from Canada. We'll tell you what it means for your weekend coming up in just a few more minutes.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.